Hello, friends, and welcome back to the new episode of r/IDontWorkHereLady. And today is another great day to hear 3 new great stories. So sit back comfortably and let's get started. Your name's not Karen? Not my problem. So for background, I grew up in the hospitality industry with my parents who, to those behind the scenes, shared the power of a general manager, although my dad was the one who holds that position, has for 10 plus years now. Seeing as some of my earliest memories are of hotel rooms, front desks, and the general drama that happens behind the scenes, you'd think I'd be immune or at least more tolerant to bullcrap. But that's a story for another day. As I said, I grew up in this business and helped out a lot, taking shifts occasionally and running errands for whichever of my parents were on shift, but I never actually got paid the same as the other employees. By that I mean my parents paid me from their own pay, which is fine. I hardly did the same amount of work they did in the same amount of time, which meant I wasn't on the payroll. Therefore, I wasn't technically an employee. Remember that, one of the few pieces that will come into play out in my favor. Okay, I also have to mention that my parents have managed more than one hotel in my lifetime, and for the past several years, the common thing is for them to live in the hotel they manage, given it's a completely different state than their house. My house now, thank you. So they have their own room. I can access it when I'm visiting because when I'm there, I pitch in and help out, which commonly requires me to have a master key. Yes, one that opens all the doors. They really don't look that much different from the guest keys, except for the markings or when the housekeepers wear them on lanyards. And the regular guest keys don't work after noon, which is the time you must be checked out or you'll be charged for another day. One more piece to remember. There are 5 floors in total, but technically the second floor is where guests can use a side door to access the parking lot and their rooms without going all the way from the lobby. It requires an active key card to work from outside. Another piece. I don't tell anyone else this, and typically only a few staff members are aware of who I am anyway, the manager's daughter. So it's not really obvious. On my last visit, I was given a master key the day after I got there and was told they'd call me if they needed my help. I'm typically an introvert and stay in my room playing video games and reading, sometimes wandering out to spend time with my parents. Wearing jeans and a graphic tank top and flannel, nothing like what the clerks or employees would wear, I left my room with a book in hand, my phone, and my master key in my pocket. But you could really only see the outline of my phone. Another piece that will come into play. So this is where the background truly ends and the story begins. I was heading down to the lobby with my book to sit on the couches and read, to hang out with my mother on her shift. She's a bookworm too, so we tend to read in silence together. When as soon as my door closed, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up and I could feel a disturbance in the force. Lo and behold, from behind me, I hear the sound of a wild Karen. "Excuse me!" My first thought was, oh boy. My second thought was, how fast can I annoy her? So yeah, I'm an introvert, but that doesn't mean I'm uncomfortable with drama or people. I just prefer to hibernate in the comfort of my living space. Big difference. In fact, on occasion, when confronted with, confrontation, I enjoy myself when I annoy the ever-loving crap out of them. I mean, I didn't ask for you to bother me, so that's your problem. I digress. This lady is what I classify as your stereotypical Karen. Seems put together on the outside, but on the inside, it's just a crap storm of entitlement and lack of empathy. I won't describe what she looks like, because then people from the hotel would know exactly who she is. Anyways, I turned to face her where I'd been just about to step away from my room door, replying with, "You're excused," which I know for a fact tends to anger people. But to be fair, it's what one's supposed to say at one's dinner table in response. Yeah, we're not at a dinner table, but still. "You need to help me right now." My third thought is, now, where have I heard that one before? Oh, right. This is Karen. "No, I don't. I'm just trying to go to the lobby." "Oh, no, you're not. You're going to help me." Okay. This is when I realized that I had 2 major options. A, get PO'd and lower myself to her level, or B, ride this out to the perfect "I don't work here, lady" moment. While option A was tempting, I decided that I could hold off on reading for now. Fine. What do you need help with? "Well, you need to start doing your effing job and bring my bags out to my car." Whoa, hold up. The hotel employees don't do that. We weren't that big of a building or business to warrant bellboys. We did have luggage carts and elevators for that particular reason. As far as I know, guests tended to understand that until now. Fine, you know what? I'll go along with it. So I head with Karen into her room, which was 4 doors down from mine, and she shoves this large suitcase. I'm talking everything but the kitchen sink large. And she shoves this large suitcase, I'm talking everything but the kitchen sink large, into my hands and carries this tiny bag instead. The suitcase does have a handle, but when I reach for it, Karen snaps at me, "No, I said to carry it out." "No, you didn't." So Karen is striding ahead of me a few spaces when I'm somewhat struggling to carry this large suitcase, and by the time I get to the elevator, Karen is already standing beside it, where I set the bag down for a moment to catch my breath because, damn, that was pretty much my exercise for the week. "Hurry up or you're fired." I really could have broken the pretense right there, but I decided that at the side door is where I would drop the bomb. Karen hops into the elevator, and by the time I'm able to pick up her suitcase, she was already heading down. So on the stairs, I simply push her suitcase down each flight, hoping that I'm smashing a few breakables in the process. Yes, I was petty. Don't care. Karen's already out the side door by the time I reached the bottom with her suitcase. She didn't even notice that it had hit the bottom somewhat loudly. Before I pick it up, I check the time on my phone. 1:36 p.m. Karen was surely about to be charged for another day, or had been already. She hadn't been out of her room long enough to have met the 12 noon deadline, obviously. Therefore, her card would not work. Karma. You show up just when I need you. So I walk over to the door with her suitcase in hand and open it, nearly throwing it out the door, and Karen screeches when I do. "You can't do that! I'm gonna have your job for that, you useless piece of crap, you effing bee!" So, not really mad, I stare at Karen amidst her rage beginning to rise, when I don't start begging for forgiveness and simply say, "You can't really take what I don't have to begin with." "What? What do you mean?" I take a small step back from the door, but I keep my body kinda leaned forward with my eyes locked on hers, so she doesn't notice the moment. I would have called her lady in this next part if she hadn't cursed at me and called me a B-word and useless. "I don't work here, Karen. Thanks for staying." I said it in a falsely cheery tone before I slammed the door shut with all my might. The electronic lock clicks into place and locked her outside. Did I forget to mention that she still had things in her room? Well, yeah, she was charged for another day, and she even told my mother about the rude bellboy. I'm a girl and present as one? WTF, locking her out. My mother tried to explain to her that since she wasn't checked out or out of the room after 12, then she wouldn't be charged for another day. My mother tried to explain to her that since she wasn't checked out or out of the room after noon, then she would be charged for another day, and that her key card was only programmed for the night she'd paid for. Oh, and we don't have bellboys. Karen eventually got her stuff, but still had to pay, and didn't get her security deposit back since she'd apparently damaged the door frame to her room. All in all, bellboy 1, Wild Karen 0. Well told, and well played. And our next story for today. Black people live here and work here. Not sure about this one, but giving it a shot. I worked as a leasing agent for a garden-style apartment community for about 4 months. It wasn't a great property by any means. The apartments were fine, the amenities were pretty outdated. The point is, we would all get all sorts of different people to come in and look around. One day, this young white couple comes in looking for an apartment. Very sweet, pleasant, mannerly. We view a few one-bedrooms, the amenities, and discuss leasing options. We're wrapping up the tour by the door that leads out of the office when the young woman asks us one last question. "So are there, any, black people that live here?" Lots of things immediately started flooding my brain, but in my position, there's only one correct answer. For those that don't know, leasing agents are bound by fair housing laws and cannot answer this question by saying yes or no, as it would be racially discriminatory. I replied, "Anyone that fills out an application and passes our income and background check is allowed to lease here." She became frustrated. "Right, I get it, but do black people live here or not?" As she was saying this, my assistant manager, who is black and does live on the property, walked into the offices by chance on her day off and overheard the young woman ask me if black people live here. Well, my assistant manager just walked up, held out her hand and said, "Yes, hi, my name is..." The couple immediately stammered through damage control. You see, cue super awkward moment, but the icing on the cake, under her breath, the young woman asked me, "Your manager approves of this?" I looked at her, then at my assistant manager, then back at the woman, pointed at my assistant manager and said, "She's the manager. You can ask her herself if she approves of herself living here." They laughed without saying another word. My assistant manager and I laughed about it for weeks after. And the third story. If he looks like a geek and walks like a geek. I was in Best Buy picking up some software. I do independent IT work. I wasn't wearing a blue shirt, but the racks were a mess, so I was going through the boxes looking for the one I wanted. This older guy, I'm an older guy myself, comes to me with a popular antivirus program and starts telling me his situation and wants to know if that is the best product for him. I show him a more suitable product, considerably cheaper, and recommend it. He asks if I can check him out. I laugh for a second and explain that I'm in IT, but I don't work here. He looks a little puzzled and walks off to the register. He comes back a few minutes later with his bagged box and asks how much I would charge to come install the software at his office. I give him my rate. He accepts. I end up at his office cleaning up a mess of 5 virus-infected PCs before I can install antivirus. That was 2 years ago. My billings to him have exceeded $10,000 for building an effective business network. Helping people in a store you don't work at can be very profitable. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.